All right, start the clock. We have 1 hour before I have to go, and we're gonna try and make some stuff happen here. Let's get right into it. All right. So I'm working on, I have a lot of things open right now. Um, we're continuing kind of where we left off, although I did a little bit here. We do have image uploading working, which I didn't have to do anything. It worked as I thought it would. The only thing I did is actually set up a content or a bucket to upload the images to and all that stuff, which I didn't really want to do on stream anyways, because I always end up, showing my secret keys, and that's just a pain in the ass. So yeah, we have uploading images, so I can, go here and grab that image and upload it, and it uses all the fancy stuff, pre-signed URL. The Flutter app uploads directly to right to the S3. In fact, actually, it's Cloudflare bucket. I'm using R2, which I highly recommend. Same API as S3, same seems like the same kind of functionality in terms of replication and life cycles and stuff. Although I haven't done anything in that. The best part is bandwidth is free. Cloudflare R2, you pay for storage, but you don't pay for the actual like bandwidth, which depending on what your application is, I'm not gonna say usually, but in some cases, like if you're making something like a Netflix, the streaming of the content, the ingress as it's called, ingress or bandwidth, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the files to get from here to here many times. Now there's some cases where storage is going to be your actual expense. I have one project where the bandwidth's actually not that high on it. People just download one person downloads one thing periodically, one specific thing of theirs. But there's a ton of storage, like it's like 20 terabytes of stuff. So, anyways, long story short, that's working now. What I'd like to get working now is registration. Um, so with that being said, we do have the backend part of registration stuff working. I think code's here. So basically, within auth, it's just auth/register, and it's using this account serializer, which is going to request these sorts of things to come up: email, password, number, username, name. Although I don't know if I really care about phone number. We might just remove that. Um, and then on the Flutter side, I do have the form already made. Like, let's actually see this all. I just really haven't hooked up the Django implementation for this yet. Oh, there's a. Oh, you know what? We need to make it when you log out. Oh yes. Okay, let's search this. Let's fix the log out. Um, so this it would probably be. Wait, what's this? That wouldn't be that one. It's gonna be one of these. Yeah, log out. So we haven't actually handled the log out for this. Um, so a couple things we want to do. First of all, we want to clear. We basically want to clear these things. So let's make this async. And we want to, I think it's delete key, remove, or remove string, because it's a string we're storing. We basically just want to remove those things. But then we also have to still tell our session manager, which, oh shoot, do we not have access to in here? We do, thank gosh. Session dot set token. Will this allow us to? No, it won't. So let's have a clear token. Void clear token. And for this, we're just going to go state equals rest session state initial. We're basically just logging them out. We could even call this log out technically, but I think clearing the tokens a little more specific to ordering. Okay, so that should work now. Let's refresh. So I'm logged in, log out. Look at that. Easy fix. Great. Okay. Now, I just want to check one thing real quick. Yep. Okay, cool. Now that we have that going, we can actually do what I was going to show, which is registration. So we have the sign up form. Okay, email, username, and password. Email, username, and password. This is expecting email, password, and username, but it also has name and number. Are those required fields on our model? Number is allowed to be blank. So let's just remove phone number from here. I'm just gonna remove it. And same with name. Is name required? No, it can be blank. Okay, let's just worry about those. So this is using a model serializer, so it's pretty, not much code here. It's just, going to create the user passing in the validated data, which let's actually look at what that is. Create user, we make sure the admin is false, and then it passes in all the kwargs to create user. There's nothing here for the phone number, so I think this will work. Okay, so um, let's close some things before I get confused. We do need this. This is where we're actually going to be doing our work. Oh yeah, and there's a confirm registration. That we might have to still build, which is very exciting. Okay, so registering, we're gonna get email, username, and password, perfect. And basically, it's gonna be kind of similar to our login in some ways. So let's actually see both at the same time. So we need to get a result. We're gonna go await client dot. Oh, we've got to get rid of our unimplemented error, and this would be a post request. And it is going to be /auth/register, I believe, with the trailing slash. Let's make sure that's correct. URL is auth/register. Yeah. Okay. This also needs to be marked as async. And so we'll do that. And the data we need to pass is basically these sorts of things. Email, username, and password. Okay, let's put a trailing comma here. Although the new Dart formatter probably, yeah, it's just gonna remove it. That's fine. I'm gonna get used to it. I'm gonna get used to the new formatter. I feel like this though is better. There was like an update on Flutter like maybe a month ago that added a new formatter. Then I think they like made it a little bit better. And really, I mean in Dart, not in Flutter. I feel like it's better than it used to be. Like there was like one that came out that was like really messy. Anyways, that's good. Whatever. Okay, so now what does this actually return? It should return a user, I think. I guess let's just print out what actually comes back. Result. What is result going to be in this case? I don't remember. Map string dynamic. So we can print out. Sometimes it's nice to do JSON encode a map string dynamic, and the reason for that is Dart kind of does its own, and so does Python. They do their own like interpretation of like when you're printing out a map. When you JSON encode it, it comes back kind of like as you'd expect, like JSON, which is just nice if we want to copy and paste it and format it and all that kind of stuff. And here, what are we supposed to return? Let's just return false, as if something went wrong, which kind of is the case because we need to do something with this, I think. We're going to find out. All right, so now that that's implemented, I should be able to go to the Flutter app and actually put in some stuff here. We're going to go to our register form. And, okay, where's the email controller? We can actually set initial values here. Is it text? Yeah. So I'm just going to do like Tyler to... The reason I'm doing this is just so that I don't have to keep typing this stuff out if we make changes. Text, and I'm doing Tyler 2 because technically I already have a Tyler 1, or Tyler without the 1. I could do Tyler 1 technically if we want to be really technical. Okay, so let's try this out. So now you see we have our form with the stuff in it. Let's click register. Let's also open up the network tools, which, oops, Command Shift P, the dev tools, the network page, which if anyone wants to make this better, I just find it's like, it could be way better. Like part of me likes actually, the only reason I like doing stuff in Chrome is like you get the real good network inspector. This one's like half-assed. Um, okay, look, okay, we got stuff back. So we're good. This is what came back, but an error was thrown because we just returned false. That's what we wanted. So in theory, registration's kind of done. If we go to users, we should see Tyler 2 in here. Look at that. There I am. Password was set using all this sort of stuff. Setup designates whether they require onboarding, and yeah. Now this register form. So what happens? You submit. It does the register. Let's see what this is. Register. So we do the register, and then I think yeah, verification required. Okay, if it's that's just for Superbase. We can get. I feel like I'm not going to worry about confirmation because then I also have to worry about sending an email and stuff. I think it's fine because it's easy. It would be easy to change this on a project rather than like assuming everyone needs that. And frankly, like the project that I'm just kind of like tidying up this framework up for to start actually doesn't even have registration. It just has login because the admins create the accounts for people. It's kind of like an invite only service. So deproj. Hey, welcome to the stream. How are you today? Okay, so now if that's the case, what is this supposed to do? So we do, okay, so success, we do this. We try and log them in. Wait, okay, so that's if success. If it's this, so it's, wait, oh, wait, auth verification required is actually, maybe we should. Maybe we should handle this. That could be a fun little project. Um, so I'm going to return true here, and we'll just test this again. Um, or really to make sure this is good, we want to, let me just actually look at the, what is this? This is the auth data source server pod. Because what do we actually do here? Register. If result is false, okay. So we want to potentially do that, but result will never be false in this case. It's going to be this. How do we know it worked? Well, first of all, we should actually wrap this whole thing in a try catch. And we'll just throw a server exception here. And if result, so I guess what we could do is we could go final user equals, we could just do user.from JSON because it's sending back a thing. And if we put this in a try catch, we should be okay here. What terrible timing. Possibly BRB. I have to take a call. Okay, I'm back. I know I was gone for a long time. I had an important call come in. I'm sorry. Which really cuts this stream short because I only have like 12 minutes before I have to go pick up my kid. But that's okay. We can get a lot done in 12 minutes, I imagine. Yeah, so what we're doing, we want to check basically like if this ends up failing. Okay, I'm getting another call, but I'm not going to answer it. It's not fair. Um, this should just solve this because the user from JSON, if this data is not actually a user, is going to throw an error. Technically, though, the try catch of just like this response should also trigger this because it'll return back actually like a 403 or something like that. But this should fine. This should be fine. We'll do this for now. So yeah, what do we? So we'll just return to. Let's test this again. What I'll do is just actually delete this user. I'll just make this process a lot easier. So fast. And then we will. Okay, we're already signed out. That's good. And we'll go register. So now, okay, it does bring us to the verification code screen. So we actually need Django to send a verification code. I've decided we are going to do that. This will be an email verification code. So I gotta remember how best way to do this. Let's look at our user model. Oh, there's the user model. So we're gonna add actually a field here. Email confirmation code. Or maybe we do email. Yeah, email confirmation code is fine. Models dot. I guess we'll just make it a char field so we can support technically numbers or letters. Oh, I put a semicolon. Oh my God. There's no semicolons in Python. Well, there is. There's some cases you would use a semicolon, but blank equals true, null equals true. Cool. So email confirmation code is, that's one way we could do it. We could actually set a default though, so that there's always, basically when the user gets created, we already have one sort of set on there. Let me make sure if that will. So we create the user, we get the user back. Yeah, that should work. So let's actually set a default. So let's go to our string.py. And we're just going to make something that's like get get confirmation. Let's do generate email confirmation code. We'll keep it very verbose, just same name there. Now for this, actually, oh, characters is supposed to be a choice. And we're going to make the length just 6. I don't want to pass anything into this because what we actually want to do here is make the default just a reference to this function. So I'm not actually executing the function here. Like normally you would execute a function, but I'm just passing a reference to the function, which means I can't really have any parameters here. And characters, I think we can just do ASCII dot. Is this? I feel like I did this recently. What project would it have been on? I don't remember. I don't remember. So yeah, we'll just go here and oops, wrong thing. I still need my fab icons to come back for my bookmarks since I migrated. It's very annoying. Okay. Python generate random. I'm actually just make it digits for this. Of course, anyone could change it. Yeah. So oh, string dot digits. That's what it is. So let's do it this way so that we can reuse this. So I am gonna have a parameter in here, but we're gonna set a default of 6, which is pretty common for like a one-time password. That way we can still pass this. So we need to just replace our import because we renamed it. And then what's cool about this is this will become part of the database migration. So like even our existing accounts will have, you know, something on it. Cool. So let's what do we want to do here? I want to do make migrations, which for those wondering, I have a make file, and I have a command, make migrations, which just does docker compose exec web python manage.py make migrations. A lot easier to just write that. And then we will actually run the migrations. So it's make migrate. And actually, if we look at that migration, which would be this most recent one here, you'll see that it actually is using like project.utils.string.generate random digits as the default one, meaning if we actually go to here now and look at any of these users, so, oh, you know what? We need to go to our user admin, because I guess admin auth, admin access. Yeah, I have let's display. We're going to add in the I don't care about the add field sets, but the edit field sets, let's actually put in the thing here, which is whatever this is called. But I am going to make it read only. And actually, this feels better in this section because it's kind of like access based. I'm going to make this a read only field because it shouldn't be something that you ever need to change. It's really just a one time sort of thing. Okay. So if I go back here now, we should see in the access section, yeah, there's my little code there. Maybe 6 is too many, but it doesn't matter. We can always change that. All right. We have a question in the chat. Question from Stefan: Is Django plus Flutter a useful and applicable tech stack for real world applications? I would say yes. I have quite a few using Flutter for quite a few apps with Django on the back end. And like, for instance, I'll go to my website because a lot of my portfolio stuff is that. So surf music, for instance, and if we actually click through to this website, this is just the landing site for it, but the actual app itself, when you create an account, is built in Flutter, web-based Flutter, but technically we could put out apps for it because it's built in Flutter. We just been focused on the web, and it's using Django on the back end, very similar to what we're doing here. And this is it's a very powerful application, a lot of users, a lot of huge files. Like it's basically like a whole bunch of things like Spotify meets a marketplace meets meets like WeTransfer or like Google Drive or whatever. It's pretty massive and whatever. And then yeah, a couple other projects on here like Storyplace, for instance, which is more like a traditional app. This is iOS and Android in Flutter, and it's using Django on the back end too. And this is also pretty popular. It's got I think like 80,000 users or something, and a lot of like user activity and notifications and all that stuff. HDRI is Django on the back end. It used to be Flutter on the front end, but we rebuilt it in Swift for certain reasons. It's only iOS app anyways, so kind of made sense. But there's other reasons why we decided to move there because it did require a lot of it does a lot of like custom native stuff. So we're just having Flutter as like the UI wrapper was kind of just getting complicated to manage sort of both. Even Verified X, the Explorer for it, and the Web Wallet API is Django on the back end, and Flutter. Some of it's Flutter on the front end. Yeah, so lots of big things that now there's that's just my stuff. Like there's other things too. So Django and like frankly, like I wouldn't try and like compare Django and Flutter to, something else. I would compare Django to something that's like a RESTful service, and I compare Flutter to something because really it doesn't matter what you know, the combination of those two things. If Flutter works in production well with a RESTful API and Django works in really well serving an app built in anything, the marriage of them is kind of irrelevant. Some pros over using, fast API, I think is what you said. Pros and cons. Yeah, about Fast API. I knew you said something about that. So for Fast API, I think Fast API is great, and I do use it sometimes for simple things. But I'm always finding if the project grows, like I'm always like, oh man, Django already has this. Django already has this. Django, is more, more robust. Has a lot more things included. Has a lot more, although you can use any Python framework with both or Python package with both, Django also has a lot of specific like Django Python packages, and whatever. I've used Fast API, I've used Flask a lot, and there's good cases for them for sure. But honestly, like if you set up Django properly with proper caching and you're not dumb about the way you do your database querying and stuff like that, like it is very good. So it's what I would recommend. I do use other things, but I always come back to Django. So yeah, that's my answer to that question. And so you have experience with Python and wanted to use it with either Django or Flask, but a lot of people suggest going more powerful text like Spring, Node, Go. These people are silly because they're saying more powerful text. These are just different languages. You can't really say like Python is more powerful than this, especially for a web service. Like, of course, yeah, Rust is super efficient and fast and all these kinds of things, even Go. But it depends what the use case is. Like for a web application, a web service, which is probably what you're looking to build, the bottleneck is not going to be the language, and the bottleneck probably won't even be the framework. The bottleneck is going to be, one of two categories. One, things like networking and disk and database and that kind of stuff, which any language will have those same bottlenecks. The other bucket would be, of course, like the way you use it. If you're following the patterns and doing things smart and indexing your database well, it's going to be great. If you're, writing spaghetti code and doing things really inefficiently, yeah, it's going to be bad. But that's the truth with any. The thing I don't like about Node is it I mean, what I like about Node and don't like about it, it's not really opinionated, right? Even like Express, like a framework built on Node, you can kind of do whatever you want, which is flexible and nice, but there's not really like patterns established. There's not like, a specific ORM you should use or a specific like data validation. It's very like pick and choose your own things, which is good in some cases, but for like especially like a new developer, like there's not really like you're going to be stuck in this world of like, did I choose the right, ORM? Did I choose the right thing? Whereas like Django, it's like, use this, use this thing. It's cool. Um, it's the patterns are there. It's opinionated. I like opinionated things if the opinions are good. So that's how I'd answer that. And now, you know, I I don't know much about Spring other than it's built in Java, which to me is like I just personally don't like Java. It's probably a good thing to learn if you're depending on what you're looking for. Like if you're looking for a job at an enterprise company, yeah, for sure, that's good to know. Node. At least when you're learning Node, you're kind of like learning more about JavaScript, which is used everywhere, right? Or even like TypeScript potentially if you're using Dino or the new experimental stuff you can do in Node without a build step. Um, yeah, so but again, Node is like a very like I find it's kind of like a wasteland of there's so many libraries and so much like stuff that isn't maintained well. NPM is a mess. I'm not trying to discourage you though. Like there's great things about it. So yeah, and then Go, I think Go is great. And Go is really good for web applications and concurrency and having it kind of is a bit opinionated and stuff like that, especially for web. But I don't have a lot of hands-on experience with it, although I will be potentially using it for a project soon that is like a big data project with a lot of like concurrency and stuff like that. So Go is definitely where like it's probably the next thing I would learn. Like I don't really care to learn Rust that much. It's interesting to me, but I don't think I would use it. I'm not writing like low-level drivers and like that kind of stuff. I mean, you can do a lot more with it than that, but it's really like for people that want to write C better in a better way, like Rust is better for that. Whereas Go, although can do that stuff, it's also really, really good at web service things, database stuff, IO, async. It's nice. So yeah. Um, cool. Thanks for the extensive answer. You're welcome. I like giving my extensive answers. I like the good questions. Um, will this stream be available afterwards? Yes, it will. Uh, the way, at least I have it, way YouTube works by default is like, as soon as the video is done, it becomes like a normal video. Now, what this was pretty short. I started just like an hour ago, and then like literally in the middle was I had an important call I had to take. So like watch it, right after because I might just delete this one because it literally like we didn't do much. Because I actually have to pretty much go now and pick up my kid. But I think I'm going to be back on later tonight if all goes well. I don't know what time zone you're in, Stefan, but I'd love to see you there. And I would like to stay longer. But my baby needs to be picked up from his activity, and then I probably have to make dinner for him, and dad life. Um, but yeah, so I'll just leave it there rather than trying to cram in one more minute of work. But basically, what I'll be doing next is actually in this serializer, we're just going to do something where we basically send an email of that code, and I might even just print it to the console too. That way, I don't have to worry about doing email. And then we'll be going back to Flutter to allow that code to be typed in. And then we just have to make a verify endpoint that will basically, use like check if that code is correct, and then that user becomes like, checked. You're welcome, Stefan. Thanks everyone for watching. Wish I could stay on longer, but life is busy right now, and I hope to be on again later today if all goes well, because I really want to get this ready for my next project. So stay tuned and have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.